All right. So, how is everybody doing? Let me make sure I say hi to everybody that's here. We have a couple people. DJ at the Joy-Con Chocolate. We have Lewis, Brandon, Alvord, Josiah, Charles, Mackay, Rebel Fetus, Soul Burgization, Chris Kelly. Hi there. Nintendo Fan Guy Rules. Number 1. SSJ Reptile Games. Nintendo Luke. Blue Crabs. Average Gamer. Let's see. Make sure. Aussie Can. Hello. Mat4yo Storm. Did I say Chris Kelly? I probably did. I'm starting to see some duplicates, so all right. I don't even know. How is everybody doing? First of all, I hope that you're all having a safe and happy holiday season. Today is the first day that my album is available to listen, and I'm so excited about it. But first, I just have to tell you how it came to be. It's a very interesting story, and it is one that inspired the entire album, I think, and the idea that really propelled it forward is spontaneity. So, earlier in the year, I decided to purchase a custom Game Boy. I really wanted one, and I bought it, and it was glorious. Backlit screen, everything. But I wanted to pick something that was really unique, and so I made it orange and purple, and that's what you see on the screen everywhere around me here. And I went to the park, and I took some photographs of it, because I love being outside and taking pictures of wildlife and things like that. So I did a little photo shoot with the Game Boy, and this is what we got out of it. We took some really nice pictures, and you can see I uploaded several of them to Instagram. Now, Instagram likes to spit out a picture of all of the things that I post, and it got a little bit confused when I uploaded multiple pictures at once, and it literally spit out the image that you see beneath me here, the album cover. This glitchy photograph is a product of natural coding, you could say. It is a total spontaneous combustion of digital information, and we don't know what happened, but it looks awesome. And my brother said to me, "This looks like an album cover." And I said, "This is the universe telling me that I have to make an album." And so that's exactly what I did. And I sought to blend things that are natural and of the real world and naturally created, such as plants and nature and birds and things like that, versus things that humans create on a virtual technological level. So video games and coding and things like that. And I wanted to really blend them together in a way that was kind of oxymoronic but also harmonious at the same time. And so here we have this album, and it's 9 tracks, and each of them has a very special place in my heart, and we're going to listen to them right now. So let's start with the first track. It's called Freak of Nature, and it's actually a sequel to a song that I had written previously 2 years ago called Suburban Surf, featuring my good friend Kushka. He does the instrumental on this one as well. There is a music video for that that we have on the channel. And what I'd like for you to do is take a listen to the song and see what kind of vibes it evokes, and hope it makes you feel good, I think is what we were going for. Just something that really makes you feel good, but also kind of pokes fun at people who, maybe go outside and enjoy themselves and forget about work and, leave all of that behind. I think it's kind of humiliating at the same time, but also encouraging for people to get out there and actually smell the roses every once in a while. So if I can get this to work, let's try it out and make sure everything's working. I'm going to add the song to my playlist, and we're just going to play it for the first time together. So here is Freak of Nature. It has a long intro with just, ambiance. So let's see if it works. All right, and putting that in now.
Can't be found on a sunny day. I leave my moody blues with the moon and I run away. I'm Alice Cooper when school is out, or Ferris Bueller smelling tulips just to make the worries fade. Hey, I'm up there flying with the birds of prey, swimming with invertebrates. Quit my job and sold my house, it's just another working day. Tell humanity I'll see you later. I'm not a nature freak, I'm just a freak of nature. Hey, you never gotta worry about currency. I got got enough green for eternity. You're never gonna see me go hungry, cause I'm going nuts enough to feed a whole country. It's a haymaking, vacation, and social isolation. It's amazing, I wouldn't trade the world for the globe. It's my humble abode, and I'll never let it go. It's so bright, and there's no price except for parasites and mosquito bites. Hold your nose tight, cause my clothes might smell so nice from all the sweat and the horse flies. Me and the forest sprites formed an armistice between the tortoise and the hare by decree of the porcupines. Conquered the land of the dwarves overnight, and now Snow White's jealous of my colony of clover mites. Slow it down for a bit, tell me how the clock's not moving yet I'm covered in ticks. Or is it just that fuzzy feeling like I'm scratching the itch of escaping reality? Or is reality this? It's a magical moment until I'm noticed by joggers and moms walking their dog thinking I'm some kind of stalker. Now the ranger's calling the cops like, oh my god, can't it creep with no friends, just sleep at the park? Like what? Hey, you never gotta worry about currency. I got enough green for eternity. You're never gonna see me go hungry, cause I'm going nuts enough to feed a whole country. It's a haymaking, vacation, and social isolation. It's amazing, I wouldn't trade the world for the globe. It's my humble abode, and I'll never let it go. I'm swinging like George in the jungle, watch out for that freak. I'm swinging like George in the jungle, watch out for that freak. I take the scenic route, you should take it too. Seeing nothing but trees, call it pay-per-view. It's in my veins, a stream of evergreen data. But I'm not a nature freak, I'm just a freak of nature.
All right, guys, how are we feeling? How are we feeling? I think the first song's over now. Yes, I believe so. All right, let me check the chat. Who's in the chat? Let me hear you. Got any questions about anything we're doing today, about the album, about that song? Any comments, concerns? Hearing them all out, good or bad. Let's do it. I should probably look at the chat, right? Let's see. Let's see. Hi, Jeremy. How are you? How long did it take me to make? I started making the album in February, and it's finally here. I finished it a couple weeks ago. Let's see. Yes, it is a great start to the album, in my opinion, because it sets the stage for something that just feels really good. And it's not too heavy on the sentimental side. It's not too heavy on the philosophical side. It's just feel good. And I feel like I haven't done enough of that in my musical career. I've kind of tried to make my statements, and I think I've done that for the most part, but here I am trying to make you have a good time. So Soulbirdization says, what was the inspiration behind this specific song? Well, I'll tell you what, I love going outside and taking pictures. It's just so amazing, and coming from a background of video games, when I started to go outside, I said, I can't believe that I stayed inside so long just playing video games. I still love to do that, and I do it often, but the first idea that came to mind is the first lyric. I can't be found on a sunny day. I just love a sunny day. I love being outside. And you should just go out there and enjoy it. You see so much more. You get to think so much more, learn about yourself, learn about the world. And, of course, you will come up with creative things to do like this song. Let's see. We have another... what's your favorite excerpt from the lyrics? I think I like in this particular song how many parallels that we made to Suburban Surf, which is the prequel that we did 2 years ago. There's so many things that we reference in the song, including clover mites, that are in the original, and a lot of leitmotifs such as Never Let It Go that we brought back into this particular song. So I really enjoyed making it. My friend Kushka on the beat, I just told him I want something that sounds like a little bit of chill hop, a little bit of springtime vibes, and he just nailed it. I mean, I hardly had to give him any instruction. He's great. I think one of my favorite lines is, tell me how the clock's not moving yet I'm covered in ticks. It's just like a simple, a really simple metaphor, but also it's like, nothing really bothers me when I'm out there. It's like, how's the clock not moving yet I'm covered in ticks? It's kind of like that's the only problem. I've only had ticks once, thank God, but Yeah, it's like that's the only thing we're really worried about, and that was the motivation that really pioneered that song for me, and really I had a great time writing it. Let's see, any other comments about Freak of Nature before we move on? Let's see. How would I say this album compares to Phrenology? Well, I'll tell you what, I think Phrenology is, a passion project of mine, but I feel like Phrenology was more of what I felt like I had to say, and this is what I feel like I just wanted to say. It's so spontaneous. It's like whatever I wanted. You'll see that towards the end of the album too. There's just spontaneity everywhere. It's just like, yeah, I can do whatever I want with this album. So how many songs have I made and thrown away? None. Every idea that I came up with is materialized on the album. So I'm really excited to have you hear all of it. So I think we're going to move on to the next song now, and that's going to be called Misleading Me On. And it's sort of a challenge rap in the sense that my friend Michael Stephen Moore and we got on a chat together, and we thought, what are some things that we can come up with that are related to each other but totally change the subject once you go from point A to point B. So for example, the song begins, and it begins with something very simple. I wake up every morning with crust in my eyes, the little yellow beads that you have in your eyeballs. But I say crust in my eyes, and then the very next line is cut from a dry slice of rye toasted with jam on the side. So I go from talking about crust in the eyes to crust on a bread. And then Michael says, jam on the side? I say, yeah, I part-time DJ. It's no surprise. Get it? Because I jam on the side, like I part-time DJ, like it's my part-time job. I part-time DJ, it's no surprise that disc jockey is all about the equestrian life. So disc jockey and then disc jockey. A jockey is somebody who rides a horse. So equestrian is, of course, horse riding. So we always try to change the subject and mislead you into a certain direction. So in just a second, I'm going to load that song up into the live stream, and we will be listening to track number 2 featuring my extremely talented friend from Thirst, from 3ST, the band. And that is Misleading Me On. So let's load this in here. All right. I think I'm actually going to try to put the video up for this, if it works. So we'll see. That's taking forever to download. Is it almost done? Let me see. Maybe I'll give it another second. All right, I'll give it a second. It looks like it's in. Okay. And you know what? It's an MOV file, so I can't play the... I should be able to play it. Bear with me for 1 second. Let me see if I can get this in here. All right. I think I got it. Here we go. All right, I'm adding it in here now. That was lagging, wasn't it? All right. Well, I'll just upload the song then. You'll have to deal with my ugly face for the entire song. Let me try to put the song in there now. Misleading Me On, and we'll just drag in the MP3 file, and we'll see how that works. Here we go. Misleading Me On. And here we go.
I wake up every morning with crust in my eyes, cut from a dry slice of rye, toasted with jam on the side.
Jam on the side?
I'm part-time DJ, it's no surprise that this jockey's all about the equestrian life.
Like the Kentucky Derby, I ride for a bucket of fried chicken. But General Sosa knows, so I kicked him into the kitchen. Fist fly as I wrestle with him like a match with Peter Griffin. Left him lying spread eagle, the word got out and Peter chipped in.
They squashed us like rock, you could dip a Peter chip in. Mixed with some salsa like a dance in Puerto Rican. Us kids in the Caribbean, we just had a Puerto Rican. Never seafood dinner, kick cuisine wouldn't be freezing.
When life hands you lemons, be sure to thank it for the freezing. Onomatopoeia doesn't fall off trees like corn does. We're freaks on a leash, doing tricks on a string like a couple yo-yos, huh? Hey Mac, that's what that makes for of. Sorry if I'm always going off on a tangent. Can't find anything derivative to add in. This is not a math class, this is a rap set. We're 2 and 2 together, can't you see we are that good? So what we need now?
Non sequitur.
Nonsense quitters don't have a lot of logic round writing a song.
So like a 5th grade love letter, just pass me the baton. She's so fit and very hip, I can't compare me. My body wouldn't got definition if I ate a thicker dictionary. I don't know how she fits those steps into a tiny box. I know she's willing to see a doctor with all the bites in her Apple Watch.
Watch for apples, but I'll keep my eyes peeled for an orange. If you drink that juice with ice, then you're signed, sealed, and deported. Jesus told Stevie Wonder he'd have the blind healed or recorded. Now I dance to Isn't She Lovely, dressed in high heels and a corset.
Of course it's tailor-made, call that pork roll on my torso. I hand sew my cornrows, cause all my Donald's furlough. A tiger for my rug, you could say I keep that furrow. I'm the GOAT, milking Tom Brady to send a ram home.
So let me drive the point home like it's uncomfortable at a sleepover. I'm so comfortable oversleeping that I may turn into bread soon. Cause I wake up every morning with crust in my eyes. Imagine my eyes higher when I rise in a bedroom for a bedroom. Sorry if I'm always going off on a tangent. I can't find anything derivative to add in. This is not a math class, this is a rap set. With 2 and 2 together, can't you see we are that? Know what we need now?
Non sequitur.
Nonsense quitters don't have a lot of logic round writing a song.
So like a 5th grade love letter, just pass me the baton.
All right, that was a fun one. One of my favorites on the album, and I think the most musically sound song on the album as well. I just had so much fun with that song, and of course with my talented friend Michael Stephen Moore on the bass, on the instrumental. So I'll tell you how that song came to be. I had the idea to collaborate with him just because he is so creative and so kind of out of the box, and I knew that he'd be perfect for the song. And I made a little tiny rap beat on Logic Pro just to send to him. I'm like, yeah, we can use this or whatever. He's like, I can make this better. And overnight, I'm telling you, he recreated the entire instrumental from scratch using hand-played instruments. It was just out of this world. It blew me away. I'm telling you, it was so good. And we put together a music video for that song over the summer, and you can watch that on my channel. But it was really a lot of fun to come up with that. We had so many creative lines in that song. My favorite, let me load up the lyrics so I can tell you what my favorite part of that song is. So I think it has to be when I think it's really Michael's first 4 bars when the concept really takes shape. So I talk about disc jockey equestrian life, and he says, like the Kentucky Derby, I ride for a bucket of fried chicken. But General So said no, so I kicked him into the kitchen. So he changes the type of chicken. Fists fly as I wrestle with him like a match with Peter Griffin. Left him lying spread eagle, but the word got out and Peter chipped in. So there's so many references packed into those 2 lines. So you have Peter Griffin, the reference to him fighting with the chicken in the famous Family Guy episode. So fists fly as I wrestled with him like a match with Peter Griffin. Left him lying spread eagle. Lion, eagle, and Peter's last name Griffin. I mean, what is a griffin, right? It's a lion and an eagle combined. So it's just such creative wordplay. And of course, he brings in Peter chipped in, and then I change it to Peter chip in, and then we keep going from there. So so much fun. And that's really the thing with this album, is that we just had so much fun. We didn't ask anybody what we should say. We just looked at ourselves. Let's see. We have a couple questions here, so let me make sure that we get to those. Yeah, everybody loves the instrumental, and I agree. We have to give all the credit to my buddy Michael for that. Hey, Nick Brown, Griffins are dope. I imagine that there are many different kinds of fictional beasts and things that we can reference in our songs, and among them, Griffins would be my favorite, of course. Jeremy, hello again. Josiah, hello. I'm happy that you guys are here. Christina, hello. My brother, hello. My little cousin Nikki, everybody's watching. Thank you so much. There are a lot of references in that song, so I'd love for you guys to dig into it sometime. Somebody asked how we mix the vocals. Ask Kevin Crust, because he taught me everything I know. All right, so we have... I can't count, so let me see. There's 9 songs on the album, and there are 7 left, I think. So we're going to go into track number 3. And, of course, the music video just came out today for Nostalgia Trap. So make sure that you check it out. But I'm going to play the song just for you now. And this is featuring my 2 best buddies on the internet, Kevin Crust and Cam of Video Game Rap Battles. We had so much fun making this song, and even more fun making the music video. So I hope that you guys check out the music video after this. But for now, I'm going to play the song Nostalgia Trap. And here it is. I'm going to load it in. This is Nostalgia Trap of Mat4yo featuring Kevin Crust and Cam Steady of Video Game Rap Battles. Here we go.
We're the new kids on the block, spitting pop rocks, thinking outside the box like it's hopscotch, sipping JavaScript like hot chocolate licks. Just put the cartridge in and hit start, going hardware like we're armor clad. It's kind of fun when you don't tell your mom and dad, but if the shoe don't fit, better watch it back. You might fall face flat in that nostalgia trap. Kick it. Back when I was just a couple ones and O's, the integer division reached overflow, and now pop the toddler looking like Harry Potter plus the Avatar, and he's the world's only hoe. The first words I spoke were the Windows startup. Forget a baby bottle, where's my 90s jazz cup? Stepped on a crack in the back lot, didn't mean to break your back, mom. Playing the street, that's the asphalt. I was playing those fighter games while other kids built them tiny trains. Spent so much time up in cyberspace that I'm the blame for Y2K. I got skills with MS Paint. The kid's a wizard, I can make it RU and escape. Ask any of my classmates. I swear, mom, C++ is a fantastic grade. Pack a mini clip in my pocket, in the cup with Pokemon Diamond. I wheel dual screen electronics. Watch my stylus spin the nose poppins. Poppin' in the club with my penguins. Puffles, I don't wait for that screen to buffer. Grandma got me that members badge, so when I join the chat, your girl's in trouble. We're the kids on the block, spitting pop rocks, thinking outside the box like it's hopscotch, sipping JavaScript like hot chocolate licks. Just put the cartridge in and hit start, going hardware like we're armor clad. It's kind of fun when you don't tell your mom and dad, but if the shoe don't fit, better watch it back. You might fall face flat in that nostalgia trap.
I've been doing the math and I know so much has changed. I believe at my hexacore I remain the same. So let's rewind the tape in this verse and you'll see it's not Wii U, it's about Windows Me. So now let's take it back to 2003. You have a 6-year-old kid chilling up on the screen, looking for a cool place to share his video memes. Needs to find a new place before he causes a scene. So he, had to find a domain. Took a whole damn year before he posted that page. It's insane. You made that site when you were 7. All my friends in my comments like,
hi Kevin.
and though my videos were, I never stopped motion. Hearing 8F's cool from all the commotion, but then from Deep Blues to Game Boys to laptops, the same joys were resonating differently, but I never changed. And it's funny how those feelings learn to stick with you. Passionate people will have their passion play the same tune, whether I'm young and I'm playing Battle for Bikini Bottom, or when I am old enough to battle for Bikini Bottoms. I am me, nostalgia for my history. Game Boy and Switch, they will always mean the same to me. But if the change seems smaller and you wanna see, hit me up on PictoChat, that's how to reach me.
We're the kids on the block, spitting pop rocks, thinking outside the box like it's hopscotch, sipping JavaScript like hot chocolate licks. Just put the cartridge in and hit start, going hardware like we're armor clad. It's kind of fun when you don't tell your mom or dad, but if the shoe don't fit, better watch it back. You might fall face flat in that nostalgia trap. Kick it.
Yeah, nostalgia feels like history is calling. On that iPod Touch over Uvu, hitting everybody up that you knew. Now we ballin' with the Spalding, king of the court. Greater Yu-Gi-Oh cards, cause we don't care about reports. Always taking on new challenges, yeah, those were the days where we jump into new balances while dreaming of J's. While I was dreaming of the rollie, watching Polioli. Saw the ice and it froze me slowly. Knew that once I run the money up, I got a cop. Cause the only ice I'm getting is from Ramada Pops. That brain freeze pain, it stayed insane. Need a fit in a whip, looking like Bruce Wayne's. Couldn't get new chains, so I trade used games for those GameStop fakes. Only gave loose change that. Now I see new days. Got huge chains and the cool shoes lace. Wish I had the mind to appreciate the time, so I hope Band-Aid gets you through pain, dang. But that's too late, I gotta live in the now. But I look to the days before I figured this out. Nostalgia, keep calling.
We're new kids on the block, spitting pop rocks, thinking outside the box like it's hopscotch, sipping JavaScript like hot chocolate licks. Just put the cartridge in and hit start, going hardware like we're aura clad. It's kind of fun when you don't tell your mom and dad, but if the shoe don't fit, better watch it back. You might fall face flat in that nostalgia trap. Kick it.
Alright, what do we think about Nostalgia Trap? Who fell in? Let me know if you fell in the Nostalgia Trap. We'll try to send a rescue crew to get you out. Alright, Nostalgia Trap is one of my favorites on the album because it involves my best buddies. And I think that it also really touches into the theme of the album, which is just having fun with each other and doing whatever we wanted to do. So the whole concept for that song is I told myself and Kevin and Cam, this is your opportunity to reference anything that you want in pop culture. Anything at all. Because there's other mediums in which we are going to be told what to say. Right? If you make a rap battle between Charizard and Greninja, you have to do the Charizard and Greninja thing. You can't reference, Club Penguin. But this is one of those things where it's like, yeah, we're not making it for views, we're making it for fun. So reference whatever you want. Hey Vince, thanks for joining the chat. I appreciate you. So that's what we did, and I tried to channel a specific time period with my verse, and it's kind of like between 2005 and 2009. That's what I really remember, really becoming a teenager and really getting involved in these things heavily. So Club Penguin, Pokemon Diamond, I chose to reference a lot of fun things in there. And the interesting thing about the video, for those who watched it, is I had a lot of fun creating little sprite characters for myself, Cam, and Kevin, and also drawings on the Procreate app on the iPad. And that was kind of my way of being too lazy to think of what else to do for 4 straight choruses. How can I make them different? Oh, well, I'll just make them insanely different and be creative and give myself 6 more hours of work. So that's Nostalgia Trap. If you have any more questions about that one, feel free to throw them into the comment section, just like we throw those meatballs into the pot of gravy. So thank you, Anika, for joining us today. We're going to go into the next song here. The next song is called Red Wing, and it is actually the first song that I created on the album, and it is, I think, the biggest example of just sheer spontaneity in terms of all the tracks on this album. So the idea came from, me just going outside and taking pictures of birds and things, and one of the birds that I saw the most was the red-winged blackbird, and I just fell in love with it because it was always like a battle. Like, I would see it every time I went out, and it would elude me. It would, kind of scoff at me when I missed it, and it was just like, this bird is so interesting, and I researched it, and I loved how it was all black, and it kind of just looks like a crow, but then if you see its arm patch, it's all red, and it just lights up the dark, and I thought that there was a really great metaphorical opportunity there. So I sampled the call of a red-winged blackbird that I captured when I was out taking its photograph, and I used all different kinds of pictures in the music video that you can also see currently on my channel. So this is one of the weirder songs in the album, I will admit, but we're going to roll right into Red Wing, which is just a solo song. It's not featuring anybody else, it's just me having some good old fun. So written kind of at the start of the pandemic, so there might be a little bit of inspiration there for you to pick out. Here is Red Wing.
Descended from the heavens with a message like Hedwig. I swoop down on the feather of a red wing. So chic and ebony, I reek finesse, and we better bow down, ready to kiss the feet of your next king. Shell carved and leather above my neck and wrist. Men's cardigan hand carved out of leopard skin. Every inch of my skeleton's decked in epaulets, so elegant, not even Caesar salad could dress like this. Lot of moxie when I'm hot pink, crocking it. Rockabilly swag when I'm blue jean dominant. Would you believe that's what I see in the mirror? And when I step out my bedroom, it's like people just see the opposite. I feel powerful, I hear applause saying Kevin Kane step to the power in my palm. But I never walked Hollywood Boulevard long enough to color a star something other than bronze. But the Hall of Fame is somewhere I do not belong. Sound the alarm, I'm plotting somewhere off of the chart. My logic is not common, I might be the anomaly that finally pulls society from out of the dark. Cause I'm a bye-bye black sheep with scars so scarlet. I turn a grayscale world so harshly. I blend in, get along like an armistice until I raise my arm and a whole world war. I'm a bye-bye black sheep with scars so scarlet. I turn a grayscale world so harshly. I blend in, get along like an armistice until I raise my arm and a whole world war hit. I stalk the barley, I pull straws for a hobby, and if mine's long and you're small, then I'm sorry. Part of the luck is the draw, but you got no chance with my markers. I've scribbled out of the lines, out the box since I was a toddler. And you're never gonna stop a little lyrical genius, never gonna get a bit into some species. Never pronounce me dead or alive. Adelaide, Phoenicius. You shoot from out the three, but I just lay up, it's easiest. You could be the greatest each season, but Mateo's the geekiest. I'm a cake crusader, like the Crimson Chin, chiseling all the haters. I could write my jawline, but it's so sharp, I'll save it for a day when I'm not rapping out in nature. Bye-bye black sheep with scars so scarlet. I turn a grayscale world so harshly. I blend in, get along like an armistice until I raise my arm and a whole world war. I'm a bye-bye black sheep with scars so scarlet. I turn a grayscale world so harshly. harshly. I blend in, get along like an armistice until I raise my arm and a whole world war hits. If you're immune to the herd, then share your beautiful words before you lose it to a Merc who disagrees with it. Wear your heart on your sleeve by all means, but if you got a chip on your shoulder, then just eat it.
So that's Red Wing, the first song I wrote for this album. It snuck its way in there and made it to the official list. Like I said, very spontaneous, but what I love about Red Wing is that it is spontaneous. And it's just like I'm writing about whatever. I mean, there's just so many random things that I reference, but it all really comes back into the character of the Red Wing Blackbird. So my favorite kind of stanza in that song is, shell cordovan leather up on my neck and wrist, men's cardigan hand carved out of leopard skin. So shell cordovan is the most expensive kind of leather, and I'm talking about like wearing all of this ridiculous stuff on my body, and every inch of my skeleton's decked in epaulets, so elegant not even Caesar salad can dress like this. So an epaulet is actually the type of thing that, you know, like a kind of a shoulder pad or whatever, and that's actually what the Red-winged blackbird has on its shoulder. There's a lot of other references to the bird and its history throughout human experience, and St. Kevin, the parable, being one of those, so look it up, it's really interesting. And I love the chorus for this song because I'm the Baba black sheep with scars so scarlet. It's such a dynamic comparison. It's sort of oxymoronic. You know, the black sheep is obviously the outcast, and you'd expect the black sheep to obviously be black, but the scars that it bears are scarlet. It's a very punctual thing to visualize. Turn a grayscale world so harsh lit, right? When everybody else is so boring, I'm going to be the one that's going to be different. Yeah, I blend in, I get along like an armistice until I raise my arm and a whole world war hits. So the idea is that the red-winged blackbird blends in with all the crows and the blackbirds and everything else like that. But as soon as it raises its arm, as soon as it starts a fight, as soon as it opens its mouth and uses its voice, then the whole world war hits. Then you see all that scarlet. And that's kind of the comparison to myself, that I feel like when I open my mouth in the rap industry, it's very different. And I kind of have a more critical viewpoint towards the state of the industry, and maybe that's met with some harsh retaliation, like the red-winged blackbird would be. So that's what I love about that song. Let's see, does anybody have any comments or questions about that one? I noticed somebody referenced the orange vanilla Coke. It's just something very dear to me, very inside joke. Yeah, it's amazing how this was sampled from the red-winged blackbird's cry. I imported it into my MIDI keyboard, and I actually played it like this with the pad. So it was really interesting, and it kind of all unfolded very naturally. Like I said, the whole theme of the album, you're blending natural things and digital things. Well, I literally took something out of nature, the cry of a bird, and I digitized it and changed the key and associated it to different keys on the keyboard. So I really loved it. And shout out to Mat4yo for helping me film that one back at the beginning of the pandemic with our masks in the middle of nowhere. It was very relevant. So we are going to move on to the next song, and that song is Code Yellow. So Code Yellow is the first song so far on the album that I don't yet have a music video for. So it might be a little bit while before you see that one get its own devoted music video, but nonetheless it is available on the album, and it is one of my favorites. I know it's one of Mat4yo's favorites, and so we're going to load that one into the stream right now. I was literally driving home one day, and I was thinking to myself, you know, a lot of these songs that I came up with on the album are references to colors of the rainbow, and so what colors do I have left? And I thought of yellow and indigo, and so for yellow it was like, well, what if it was like code yellow? Like what could be a code yellow? And the whole idea for the song became code yellow is like this alert that, you know, maybe you're breaking the law, and it would be called code yellow, and that law that you were breaking is growing up too fast. And so the whole idea of code yellow, you need to slow down growing up. Take it easy, little man, move it slow, fellow. Just because the light's green doesn't mean you should go telling all the little kids to grow up. Hell no. Here is Code Yellow, a very interesting and metaphorical track for Evergreen Data Stream, starting in 3, 2, go!
Whoa, that's a code yellow. Take it easy, little man, move it slow, fellow. Just because the light's green doesn't mean you should go telling all the city kids to grow up. Hell no. Life's a game of hide and seek. Who you are has to go and find who you try to be. The sport is free to play, but no one said that time is cheap. So meet me at the corner of Easy Street and play it for keeps. Tag, you're in, it's a competition. No whining and kicking. Don't believe me? Pinch your fingers and then snap, you're in my position. So tie your laces like a ribbon, cause this childhood's a gift. And if you miss it, no genie is gonna grant your wishes. You better savor this moment. Taste the flavor and own it. Add some cherries and relish in it, just so you can cherish and relish in it. You know Mr. Softy, you don't wanna meet his older brother. So lick that ice cream clean before he turns you to a sucker. Whoa, that's a Cody Yellow. Take it easy, little man, move it slow, fellow. Just because the light's green doesn't mean you should go telling all the city kids to grow up. Hello, I said, oh, hello, that's a Cody Yellow. Take it easy, little man, move it slow, fellow. Just because the light's green doesn't mean you should go telling all the city kids to grow up. Hell no! What goes up must come down. We learned that on the playground. What goes around, we learned on the merry-go-round. Every trip, every fall leaves a scar. And if you ain't crying hard, then you learn nothing at all. I don't mean to beat around the bush, but this has never been a Peter pick up Pepper's book. Ain't no urban legend that you heard from friends when you were parked up in the curb again. It's a manhunt, an all-out war with no weapon, but just a stepping foot. And the temperature's got you sweating bullets and shooting words like a turret would. Running all over the neighborhood, never bothering about the greater good. That twinkle in your eyes, you keep shining brighter, no matter what age you look. Need to smell the daisies instead of being afraid of which pedals you'll push. And when you approach that light, you'll know which pedal to push. Whoa! That's a Cody Yellow. Take it easy, little man, move it slow, fellow. Just because the light's green doesn't mean you should go telling all the city kids to grow up. Hello, I said, oh, hello, that's a Cody Yellow. Take it easy, little man, move it slow, fellow. Just because the light's green doesn't mean you should go telling all the city kids to grow up.
Hell no. Don't tell those kids to go growing up. Man, I love that song because it has such a special meaning, and it even means more as time goes on, you know. When you are younger, you really don't realize how special of a time it is until you grow up. And I tried to channel kind of a city atmosphere, you know, being outside and being with the elements and running around and playing with your friends in the street. And that's something that I experienced when I used to go to visit family every day over the summer in the city. And we would all run around and we would play manhunt. And we would, knock on people's doors and make them upset or whatever. But I just wanted to say hello. I don't know why they were upset. But, it turns you into a teenager. And you have to think to yourself now, looking back at it, I just wish I wish I knew how special it was. But then I guess if you did know how special it was, then you wouldn't have been so carefree. It's a paradox for sure. And that's where the idea of the song comes in, because the voice of the narrator, the person who's rapping, is going back in time. Is going back in time and telling his younger self that he's violating Code Yellow and he needs to stop growing up so fast. It's kind of this circular motion, where the person who grew up into that person is being told by the grown-up version of that person. You could go back and forth with it 100 times. But Code Yellow, I tried to evoke that city atmosphere with the lyrics, and this is an example of really building a setting with your words as well, because obviously rap is just an auditory medium, but you can evoke certain textures with the way that you control your voice, and you can also evoke certain locations with the vocabulary that you use. So I used a lot of vocabulary such as, traffic lights, being in the city. And we talk about that. Hide and seek, right? Meet me at the corner. Tag, you're it. It's a competition. No whining and kicking. Tie your laces like a ribbon. So you're getting all of these senses that are coming out with just the vocabulary alone, let alone what a music video could potentially do for this. Mr. Softy, you don't want to meet his older brother. So those kinds of lines come from literally closing your eyes, right? Putting your body in stasis and leaving spiritually to go to that place. Where is the setting of the song? And for me, it was the playground in the city. And I remember when the ice cream truck used to come, we would get so excited. And so that becomes part of the lyrics now and part of the world that we reference the ice cream truck. It can really help you find things to write about when you just don't know what to say next. You know Mr. Softy. You don't want to meet his older brother. Obviously, his older brother is Mr. Hardy. And he grew up already. You don't want to meet him. Trust me. And if you make fun of me, you don't want to meet my older brother because he's going to beat you up. So it's all of these playground things that really come to life in the song that I just really love. And of course, I got a little fast with the lyrics towards the end, and that's a little experimental thing as well. Let's see, before we go on to the next song, thing to reference. So, yes, Nick Brown, let's bring Jailbreak back. In fact, when I'm done this, I'm going to call you up and we're going to go run around the neighborhood. All right, we'll take our shirts off and swing them around like rally towels, and then the police will come and we'll play the song for them. Let's see, a couple more questions. Which song is most important to me? We'll get there. Talk about voice. Who does the little kids' voices? Great question. So I had all my little cousins stand in a circle, and we all did Eeny, Meeny, Miny, Mo together. And it was so much fun because it allows me to capture a moment in time where we all, my cousins are younger and they're in that phase that I'm supposedly speaking to as a narrator in the song. So I'm able to capture that little window in time and put it into this piece. And that's something that we do a lot in this album. I take things from literal places and put them into the song. So, for example, in Nostalgia Trap, there's this little tiny laser sound effect. And I took that sound effect from when my brother and I were out at the playground throwing a frisbee back and forth, and we took a break and we sat on the bleachers and we were banging on the bleachers and they made this really cool sound, and I'm like, I'm going to take that sound and put it on my album somehow, some way. So you can capture so many more things than just your voice in these pieces. Let's see, we have a couple more questions. So yes, Mat4yo. I think Mat4yo's voice stands out the most out of the voices for Eeny, Meeny, Miny, Mo. The name of the album, I talked about that a little bit earlier, but it's a blend of natural things and human-created things, such as technology. All right. Yes, so let's move on to the next song here. And the next song is, I believe, Shibuya Streets. So this song was actually one of the most recent, and it is one of the two songs that were not actually on the final set list for the song, for the album. I was actually waiting for my friends to send me their verses, and I was just sitting around and I was like, I have more ideas that I can put onto this. So I literally wrote 2 more songs while I waited, this being one of them. So I'm going to throw you right into this one, Shibuya Streets, and we'll see what you think about it afterwards as opposed to me telling you about it first. It's very metaphorical, maybe difficult to understand at first, but I hope that it paints, like Code Yellow did, I hope it paints a setting for you. And we'll take you to the streets of Shibuya, where I've personally never been, but I have played many video games which cherish that location, such as The World Ends With You and Persona 5 and Kingdom Hearts 3, eventually, right? Here is Shibuya Streets.
1,000 blank faces, making haste upon the pavement. Feet dancing like a fresh rain, losing the last of the elasticity they were saving, just to say hello before fading. And maybe I know little about them and less about me, bouncing through the crowd like a pinball machine. Everyone is plugged with earbuds, feeling the hype, and I might too, but I'm not the stereotype. Scary a sight when I pause at the crosswalk. They're all looking for the lollipop man, holding up a blue check mark, telling them when they can stop, go, or lock them up for blocking the box. Everybody's all talk, even with their lips zippered, slithering through filters like a lizard in an air conditioner. Invisible venoms in the stratosphere keep throwing shade, and we'll never see a bright idea. These visions are larger than they appear, and small enough to not seem real. And somehow I couldn't see clearer. The man we're fearing is the man in the mirror. These visions are larger than they appear, and small enough to not seem real. And somehow I couldn't see clearer. The man we're fearing is the man in the mirror. Stop, go, walk slow. Stop, go, walk slow. Never know who you'll meet in the Shibuya Streets. Look out for circus freaks, student geeks and sewer creeps. Crooners lying through their teeth and cougars wearing jewels so chic. Taboo it seems, maybe it's a lucid dream. We can't shop clothes, every shop's closed. Every road to success is filled with potholes. The story that they're selling's littered with plot holes. Whoever authored this novel, only God knows. Takes me back to when times were feudal, but I refuse to be the emperor's honest pupil. Most of us are hungry for a ruler, while they're feasting on a spoonful of our brains like it was a bowl of ramen noodles. I am neutral, but choosing sides to gain power is crucial. Or that's the rumor. I'm no sleuth or prosecutor, but these rotten optics smell peculiar. Not to sound intoxicated, but our troop has been bamboozled. Can't know joy without pain, sunshine without rain. Never thought I'd miss a light breeze, but in a hurry came a hurricane. Yet ignorance don't cost a thing. Like a fish can't know it's in water, there's 100 guppies that were brothers with, and one of us is an imposter. Maybe it takes a fool to believe, or maybe the imposter is me. These visions are larger than they appear, and small enough to not seem real. And somehow I couldn't see clearer. The man we're fearing is the man in the mirror. These visions are larger than they appear, and small enough to not seem real. And somehow I couldn't see clearer. The man we're fearing is the man in the mirror. We wear walls and fences, like a diamond necklace. Glasses so expensive, got the tinted lenses. We sell tennis bracelets, falling love and hatred. Charms painted with those upside down smiley faces. We wear walls and fences, like a diamond necklace. Glasses so expensive, got the tinted lenses. We sell tennis bracelets, falling love and hatred. Charms painted with those upside down smiley faces.
Stop, go, walk slow. Stop, go, walk slow. Stop, go, walk slow. Stop, go, walk.
Stop, go, walk slow. Pay attention to the signs on the street corner. They'll let you know what to do. That was Shibuya Streets, a song that I wrote recently. It was one of the last songs that I wrote for the album. Again, very spontaneous. And the whole idea behind it, obviously it is inspired by Persona 5, being somebody who is misunderstood by society and takes it upon himself to be the change that he desires and is kind of persecuted for it. Great question by Jackie. I'll get this out of the way first. Who is the Lollipop Man? So a Lollipop Man is the technical, or should I say maybe untechnical term for a crossing guard. And they call them that because they hold up the signs, and the sign maybe looks like a lollipop. So a crossing guard is a Lollipop Man. And it's a cool little bit of vocabulary that you might have to look up, but it's something that you learn and creates some kind of visuals as well, because also lollipops are sweet and we love lollipops, so people are drawn to the lollipops, and maybe that's a metaphor for did this lag? Okay, we're back. Maybe it's a metaphor for how people are drawn to the crossing guards in their lives. I want to make sure that we're not lagging. Let's see. Okay, it looks like we're good. Yeah, so the idea of the song, obviously, it's commentary about society, right? But it's a commentary in the sense that, not in the sense that I'm outside of society, but in the sense that I'm part of it. And I feel like that's the biggest thing, the biggest problem that we have as a society is that we don't look inside for the answers, right? We're always trying to blame somebody else, always name calling, always trying to accost somebody on the other side. And you see it so much on Twitter especially, which is why I brought up the blue check mark, right? The blue check mark is the figurative crossing guard in this sense of who's telling you what you are allowed and what you're not allowed to say. And the concept of the song, it has a lot of gullibility to it, because he says, maybe the imposter is me, you know? Maybe it takes a fool to believe, or maybe the imposter is me. So it takes a lot of introspection and self-awareness to look at yourself and say, maybe I don't have all the answers. Maybe I'm wrong in this situation. And I feel like if we did that more often, that we wouldn't be walking through a crowd of blank faces, that we would be able to understand each other better. And so that's where the idea of the song comes from. And I feel like it's it's the one song that I reserved for a philosophical message for the album, but I hope that it connects with people, because it doesn't matter what you believe or what side you're on. It's always healthy to challenge yourself. I have a little sticker on my refrigerator here that says, "Don't believe everything you think," and that's always in the back of my head. And yes, Nick, you are correct. The Lollipop Man and the Gingerbread Man are actually brothers. They're a couple of years apart, but they are brothers, and so they are also related to the Sandman and Jolly Saint Nick. If you didn't know that, they were behind the scenes in the Santa Claus movies. So we're going to move on. Thank you, the Random Bros, and of course, thank you from my boy Snowden for joining the chat. I'm so excited to have you guys here. We're going to go on to the next song right now, which is Indigo. So this is another song featuring Kushka. So we had Suburban Surf 2 years ago. We had Freak of Nature, which was the opening track on this album. And then he sent me an instrumental that was so different than what we've created before. And it was very bare and dry bones, right? So I said, how can I make this something really special? I was sitting on the beach one day thinking about the album and thinking about all the colors. And I said, what could I do for Indigo? Well, what if I just called the song Indigo? And I thought of the setting immediately and the chorus immediately. So the idea of the song is that, you're a guy with a broken heart sitting at the bar. Maybe it's in Paris, maybe it's not. And it's a bar for people who have broken hearts. And a lovely lady dressed in indigo comes by, and I'll explain exactly what her presence and her quote means if you don't get it on the first listen. So allow me to load up Indigo featuring Kushka to the stream. Here we go. 3, 2, Indigo. So did this stop work? Hold on. Yeah, I muted it by accident. Let's try it again. No worries. I was supposed to mute myself. All right. Hold on. Yeah. Let's get Indigo back in here. All right. And in 3, 2, Indigo.
See you again, strutting in with that indigo dress, baby. If it wasn't for the drink in your hand, I'd say you came indigo out of my head, didn't you? Yet in you go, in you go. Yet in you go, in you go. There's a rainstorm dancing like a waveform outside the cafe door. Is that what you came for? It's something you and I both have in common, along with staring at each other and pretending that nobody's watching. We treat our feelings like a stone cold Ciroc. We leave them bottled up inside and they land on the rocks. And if this is purgatory for lovers who fell before me, then I've found my peace. Let's have another round on me. I never thought I'd see you again, strutting in with that indigo dress, baby. If it wasn't for the drink in your hand, I'd say you came indigo out of my head, didn't you? Yet in you go, in you go. Yet in you go, in you go. I've locked eyes with a few different fine wines on the mantle, sipping juice from forbidden fruit. Gave me dripping eyes like a burning candle. Left to rot as I stirred the pot without an option to pair with my tea. Never thought to put down the menu to find my strawberry sweet. It's been a couple weeks, you Yet you still keep coming, crawling parallel to my path. I wonder if you'll cross it. I whispered if you thought the storm would calm, and you responded,
This dress was baby blue when I bought it.
I never thought I'd see you again, strutting in with that indigo dress, baby. If it wasn't for the drink in your hand, I'd say you came indigo out of my head, didn't you? Yet in you go, in you go. Yet in you go, in you go.
In you go, in you go. So obviously Indigo uses a little bit of wordplay for its meaning, right? So indigo being the color, and in you go into my head. So like I said earlier, the setting for that song is a rainy night at a bar for people who have broken hearts. And you're sitting at this bar, and all of a sudden this beautiful woman comes by wearing an indigo dress, and she's very mysterious. And I think of it in the sense that they are strangers, right? And their paths, I say this in the song, their paths are going like this. They're parallel. And the main character wonders if they'll cross paths. And where that intersection goes, maybe it'll bring them together. Who knows? But it's this concept where you're out and about, and you are wherever you are, and there's somebody there who you don't know, and a simple hello could change your whole life. You could become best friends with that person, but if you don't say anything to that person, then they could be gone, and that could also change your whole life. So it's this delicate balance where you don't know if this person is going to come in your head and stay there, or if they're going to come in your head. Or if they're going to go out of your head just as fast as they went in your head. So that's the idea of the song, and the climax, the punchline at the end is when Mat4yo comes in and she says, "This dress was baby blue when I bought it." You have to think more in terms of word. You have to think more than just wordplay here to find the meaning for that, right? So if the dress was baby blue when she bought it, why is it indigo? Well, think of the question that I asked, right? I whispered if you thought this storm would calm. And you responded, this dress was baby blue when I bought it. How is that an answer? Well, think about it. If she's walking past that door, in and out of that bar, constantly, and it's constantly storming, what would happen to her baby blue dress? It would be saturated by the rain, and it would turn indigo. When clothing or any type of paper or something gets wet, it gets darker in saturation and in hue because it's saturated. So the answer to the question was, I don't know when it's going to stop raining because it hasn't stopped raining. And maybe when these characters meet, that's when the rain will stop. It'll subside. But for now, we don't have to figure that out just yet. Let's just have a toast. And so that is Indigo, and it's very special to me, obviously, for that very simple and clean message. And we're able to chill out on it, I think. Snowden, thank you for all the love. I really appreciate it. I know to have you think highly of it is a huge honor. So welcome some more people into the chat. We have the one and only Ludwig van Beethoven. So happy to have you hundreds of years after your time. It's really appreciated, and I know that you didn't expect music to come this far, but here we are. And Froze the Odyssey, thank you. Shu, thank you for subscribing. I'm so happy that you're here. I don't know how you found me. All right. Any more questions? No, I think we're good to move on to the next song. All right, guys. So you're going to have to strap in with this one. If you have popcorn popped, I hope that you do. And if not, you can go pop several bags and the song will still be running. Because we have a 12-minute long odyssey to explore before this album is over. It's called Made in Blue. Blue Krabs is very excited, and I hope it's not just because blue is in his name. Made in Blue is definitely a passion project. It started out as a short story. And the short story evolved into a shorter story, and I decided that the best way to materialize this little story that I came up with is to put it to rhyme and create a soundscape and design it for a medium of rap, basically. And so, Made in Blue is a 12-minute long journey, and the character that we hear from the entire time is a wildlife photographer. Like I said at the beginning of the story, right, at the beginning of the album, that's what a lot of this has been inspired by, my experiences out in nature. And so many things in nature are real and predictable, but what if there was one thing that you saw that was totally unexpected and never before seen by man? Well, that is the Made in Blue. So I'll stop talking and let you experience it for yourself. Like I said, please get yourself comfortable. Go grab a drink or a soda, because this will be 12 minutes of your time before we get to the very last cherry on top of the album, which is track number 9. But for now, relax and enjoy track number 8, Made in Blue.
Another blurry render in my viewfinder. A new kind of bird who's ever out of reach for a wildlifer. Armed with a camera, I quickly snipe creatures on a canvas for a princely price. Every storm of common birds brings a calm that stirs the woodpeckers, cardinals, and warblers. Oh, the wonders of this world called Earth. Every color paints a prize people score for work, or even more for sport. It is certainly a break from every fickle insecurity of man's institutions on the urban side. Every perfectly paved pathway, yeah, that's a courtesy that lets us coexist with something more divine. Playgrounds, pavilions, park benches like the planks I pause upon daily, sitting pressed against a plaque with something written faintly, in loving memory of Daisy. If only anyone came to remember her, all I know is her first name and moniker. Underneath their lifespan reads 2 simple words: wildlife photographer. Daisy, such a name seems penned by nature's author. A floral figure born from the fauna, here no longer. Had she lost her way, dived too deep, submerged in her work? Or maybe did she take it to the bank and flee across the earth? Nevertheless, sitting here I bear with my eyes something inanimate, yet very much alive. A cunning blue wind rushes through the sky, like the blurry memory of a race car zooming by. My fingers shiver, my shudder shudders, not fast enough to capture where the wind wanders. I click, 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 no dice, so I rub my eyes and wonder why my luck's run dry. Between the blurry blinking, I quickly catch a glimpse of a patch of grass that's inches away with frosted tips, and I whisk back my head, but the whiplash instead caused blobs of black to bubble up and blind my vision. Useless. I dilate my eyes and zoom in, focusing and slowly revealing the shape of a human. A stunning bride to the forest, so sweet, draped with navy locks stretching down to her feet, dusted with powder blue skin and a shimmering tint, with a crown made of flowers and sticks, shoddy yet regal, enveloped in mystery. Her temporary footsteps lost to history. I dash after the apparition, panting, trying to snap a picture, racking focus, adding digits to fix the settings like a mathematician, but I'm gasping as the air gets thicker. Blast one last shot to win the jackpot, then check the camera. Alas, the image had lacked a figure. I missed her. I heard nothing but birds calling and sticks falling to the ground. I began walking away until I was frozen by a faint sound. Her voice could quell a giant, no matter how defiant. A simple song so quiet yet could quench the thirst of silence. She could sing a rotten flower back to life, it's such a pleasure. I'd stop my search if only I could listen forever. I crawl across a spongy bog and park up on a broken dock to find that witch-like figure watching me from afar. I dial my stop up a notch, this could be the money shot. And as I check the frames I got, the nature's there, the lady's not. But still she stands before me, I cannot make a lie. The maiden in blue is but a friend to the naked eye. I whisper, hello, perhaps thinking wishful, for naught but a waste of 2 syllables. But when I ask the wind for its name, it suffocates me, gusts abruptly unto my face. See, then it shrinks to a hush, just to usher the sound of a shy young lady who whispers,
Salvia.
That's beautiful, I say without thinking, her visage blinking into my plane of existence. I don't know anyone with that name, I imply.
Neither do I.
She replies, you're a poltergeist. A forest sprite? No, a hallucination from consuming pumpkin spice? Whatever she is, it's something nice. Quite an icy stare, yet a warmth that wants to hold you tight. My loss for words in the face of this alien falls on deaf ears as the sound of 2 gentlemen scoff in the distance. Shocked with suspicion, the beautiful woman dissolves in an instant.
Did you hear that? Was that some kind of banshee? Nah, that's a buck and a half if you ask me.
A khaki-clad caddy grabs a loaded shotgun. Look over here! If you're hunting deer, I am not one!
Get off our turf! This ain't no place to hike.
I'm sorry, I'm just out here, shooting some wildlife.
Don't point that thing at me. I'll make you pay the price.
Roger that, I'll pack my bags and be way out of sight. I ran far to the edge of the water, almost fallen, but was caught by the 8th world wonder. She's going nose to nose with a bloke who knows no better. I'd say it was the Twilight Zone which I have entered. Her periwinkle skin is speckled by the sunlight. Iridescent prisms twinkle when it's just right. She's a hybrid, like a mermaid and nymph is but an insult, comparing her to man's fiction.
Why do you keep following me?
I'm taking photographs, see?
Does that hurt the animals?
No, in fact it preserves their memory.
Are you a threat?
Who? A hunter? No, I'm a friend.
You aimed that tool at me just like them.
She cracks a smile, raises her eyebrow, adjusts her twig crown, and pleats her leaf skirt. It seems if anyone has a shot to take first, the time is now, and it is hers.
Come with me.
She holds out her haunting hand. My trembles make the sand dance beneath these wooden cracks. In normal circumstances, I wouldn't follow such a floating ghost. But this almost feels like going home. She pulls me over the lake, and I thought I might break the tension of the surface right away. My mistake, cause I'm walking on water, glowing adorned with an aura, and for the first time ever, soaring into pure nirvana. Wandering so calmly beyond the horizon to a marshy wetland no man could reach by foot. The fog clears to reveal a small straw-built hut. Nothing but natural law and us. She snags a seat, wraps her hair around her cold toes. Wood shavings covered the ground like fresh snow as she whittles up a little duck sculpture with her fingernails, humming a melody that sings my mind to set sail.
You're new here. What brings you to the forest? Purpose? Passion? Is it here you're looking for it?
I want to take a picture that will grace the front of magazines.
Nature is not yours to take. Your picture won't be one of me.
She stops whittling. She starts whistling. A yellow bird perches on her arm to take a listen. Yes, what a perfect shot. Artwork captured on my cartridge.
There, you've got your picture. Did you get what you wanted? They prowl, they shoot the fowl, they loot the fawn for fur. But worst of all, I can't allow for you what they did to her.
She walks me through a hole where the vines had woven layers of security unworthy of a secret code, where the understories dipped in gold from sun that shone directly on a statue of a shoulder outward to shield her body. Eyes open, face frozen, emotions left without responding. Ponytail in the wind like a true traveler. Strapped around her back, an old rusted camera.
Hunters aimed at a deer grazing, and this dear lady was grazed gravely before she even had a chance to feel the pain. I cloaked her in my saving grace. A relic she remains. Every storm of commoners brings a calm that stirs the joggers, hikers, and photographers. Oh, horrors of this world called Earth. Every color's a design meant to lure a curse, and hers was the worst.
It is certainly no work of urban artistry. I feel the statue wants to talk to me. I walk up to the rock and knock, hello, thinking wishful, for naught but a waste of 2 syllables.
If only anyone came to remember her. All I know is her face and this chronicle.
But I know this must be Daisy, wildlife photographer. The winds rise to a squall, and all of it all, the marble cracks at every flaw that nature had carved. With every second on the clock, the stone woman unthaws, and in proportion, the maiden in blue starts to dissolve. As if to say hello and goodbye at the same time, salvia seems to vaporize in dry ice.
Remember when your dreams fail to materialize, that miracles are more than fantasies that humankind writes.
Dissipating glow leaves me in a daze. See, I yell, Daisy! And stare in amazement.
I heard a shot. Is everything okay?
Yes, it is now. And I know who's to blame. I dash off with my camera, she tiptoes along. I got goosebumps growing under the grooves of my palms. I say, hey, did you get any nice pics for your collection?
Sure did. I'll have to show you once I get them developed.
To get her home safe, I look for a new way. When out the blue, the most beautiful blue jay flew just a few paces away from my face, with the perfect pose waiting for the perfect frame. I revel in the passerine bird's magnificence. Feathers have a texture like your grandmother knitted it. The details so exquisite, as surely azure as the wind that visited when I most needed it. It tilts its head at me, lending power to capture what you can't with something man had manufactured, like a camera. And as it flies away, it carries the weight off a man whose eyes just opened today.
All right, Made in Blue. That was a big one. Give yourselves a nice pat on the back for making it through all 12 minutes. It didn't feel like 12 minutes, maybe felt like 20, but I digress. Thank you all for tuning into that. Listen, that was a really special project for me, and I'll recap this story for anybody who maybe got lost or stopped listening for a second. The wildlife photographer, the main character, sits on a bench every day, and the bench is dedicated to a girl named Daisy, who apparently is no longer living. He sees this mysterious blue wind that rushes through the sky. He tries to photograph it, and he never can. So then when he actually sees that this blue wind is personified as a beautiful woman, a nymph, a maiden of the forest, his first instinct is to take a picture of her so that he can, make $1 million off of it. She won't let him. She doesn't appear in photographs. So he chases her, he goes after her, and then there's a confrontation with hunters. That's when the maiden realizes that these two types of people, they both shoot birds, but one shoots to kill and one shoots to preserve. And so that's the very special difference that the maiden tries to ration out in their dialogue together. And then when she realizes that he's an okay person, maybe she has a lesson to teach him. And so she invites him into his abode, tells him the story of a wildlife photographer from many years ago who was actually caught in the crossfire of some hunters shooting a deer. So she tells the boy, hunters aimed at a deer grazing, and this dear lady was grazed gravely. But before she even had a chance to feel the pain, I cloaked her in my saving grace. A relic, she remains. So this woman was grazed by a bullet, would have killed her, but instead the maiden in blue turned her to stone to save her life. And perhaps she could be revived someday in the future. Her family never found her. They presumed that she was gone, so they dedicated a bench in her memory and went on with their lives. But the maiden in blue and the main character have differing pieces of information that fit together like a puzzle piece. The main character, all I know is her first name and moniker. The maiden in blue, all I know is her face and this chronicle. They put them together, and when a photograph is snapped of the statue, the woman is brought back to life, Daisy, and thus the maiden in blue fulfills her purpose and dissolves and leaves the main character with something to chew on, right? A moral, a lesson. The maiden in blue sends a blue jay, a beautiful one, right in front of the main character. And we know that the main character likes to snap things that appear right in front of him because he wants a good picture. But this time, he just looks with his eyes and appreciates the bird for what it is with his own eyes, his own vision, not the camera. Something you can't capture with something man had manufactured like a camera. And so the weight is off of his shoulders, and he knows how to appreciate the actual world for what it is, and not just for the material value or for the price that it can pay when you snap a good photograph. And so that's the moral of the story, and there's a lot of little details in there that you can pick up on, such as when the woman says she's going to get her pictures developed, it's supposed to imply that she's from a time period gone by, that she's been frozen for quite some time, maybe even decades. And the main character can now help him get home. And so Snowden thinks it could be a miniseries. I'm not sure. Every time I have a good story, like whether it was in college or even right now, people always tell me, "Oh, I want more. It has to be longer." I'm like, "No, this is the song. This is it, start to finish." But who knows? Maybe it'll get picked up. But for now, this is what it is. It's what I want it to be, and I'm so happy with it. I was talking earlier about bringing things from the wild and bringing things from the real world into these tracks, and so many, in fact, all of those sound effects, pretty much, if not for maybe just one or two, maybe, were captured by myself specifically for this music video out in the field. So I recorded the birds, I recorded the running through the grass and everything like that, and all the photo snapping and things like that. And the important sound effect in that song is something that my dad created. So my dad would always do this thing with his hands, and I can replicate it occasionally. I'll try it right now. We'll see if it works. Oh yeah, he gave me the strength to do that one perfectly. So my dad used to do this thing where he would cup his hands together and make a little sound. And so I recorded him doing that as well as me doing that, and I manipulated those sounds, and I used that as the leitmotif for the wind in the song. So whenever the maiden in blue is appearing or something as special is happening, you hear that wind gusting and permeating throughout the background track. And it's so special to me now that I had my dad do that several months ago, that unfortunately and really shockingly, he's gone. He passed from COVID actually just recently, and it's been such a difficult and heartbreaking time for our whole family, but really made more comforting in the fact that we were able to memorialize him and capture so many of the little intricacies of the things that he did, such as this little whistle that he used to do with his hands that always impressed us ever since we were little. And so now it's immortalized in this song, and it's so special to me. And that leads us into our next song, and why, to answer a question from earlier, that this next song, truly is the most important to me on the album. It was the most recent song that I made. I did it only a few weeks ago, and it was at a time when we were all shut down. We were quarantined. We couldn't see our family, and it was bringing me back to a time, just a year and a half ago, when we not only had my father, but we also had my grandfather, and we met every Sunday night for dinner. It's something that's very important from the heritage that I come from, an Italian-American family, in the city that we're from, and it's very special and customary to meet every Sunday for dinner and have gravy. Gravy, not in the conventional sense as a brown liquid that you pour on your turkey, but gravy in the sense of red sauce that is cooked and marinated with meats. right, that you use on spaghetti or pasta. And so within the community, we always talk about who has the best gravy. And if you ever are asked that question and your answer is not my mother, you will be smacked with a wooden spoon. So it's just something very special. And luckily and fortunately for myself, I had recorded so much footage from Sunday dinners in the past, whether it be for a school project or just for personal reasons. And I was able to repurpose that material into a very special song that I created as the cherry on top for this album. So without further ado, the very last song and the grand finale of Evergreen Data Stream. Here is Lo-Fi and Gravy in 3, 2, 1.
My mom's gravy is awesome. It has the best meatballs.
You don't wash the pot.
Just let it cook.
It's 4:45, family's waiting on our party of 4 to arrive. It's not Thanksgiving, Christmas, or the 4th of July, just a Sunday, an ordinary time. I'm living for the lady in red, she's amazingly dressed. Her texture's got a flavorful zest, steaming hot and so tomatoey fresh. And I'm not talking about grandma, but her gravy's the best. That aroma puts the block in a coma. It's a wonderful waft that you could smell from Oklahoma. There's enough to go around for me, you and the roaches. It could bring world peace if we never held our noses. Step into the parlor like a pack of sardines, got the taste of garlic entering my bloodstream. Jeopardy's on TV, everybody's screaming, can't hear myself think. Maybe that's the way it should be. Who makes the best gravy?
My mother.
My mother.
My mother.
Who makes the best gravy?
My mother.
I said, who makes the best gravy?
My mother.
My mother.
My mother.
Who makes the best gravy?
My mother.
The time's the pizza coming.
Mix it up, stir it up, simmer down. I know the whole pot seems endless, pal, but there's gotta be a bottom somewhere, somehow. It just doesn't have to be now. You got room for dessert, gonna need it cause we got a whole room for dessert. Take a Tylenol because your sweet tooth's gonna hurt. No crying cause there's other peeps who got it worse. Bring it all to the table, cause your seat may be gone later. Thank the baker, do a couple favors for your neighbor. And next time don't be a stranger. A wasted cake is a waste of time. Get that measuring tape away from that waste of mine. Another day, another sunrise. So I'll see you on the other side. Who makes the best gravy?
My mother.
My mother.
My mother.
Who makes the best gravy?
My mother.
I said, who makes the best gravy?
My mother.
My mother.
My mother.
Who makes the best gravy?
My mother. It's always better with family.
It's always better with gravy and meatballs above.
I think if you stick a Hershey bar in the gravy, all these kids will eat that.
I know. You're gonna pay for that.
I want to take your trash out. Don't you? Use your can, I use my can.
And there you have it. That is Evergreen Data Stream, start to finish. Let's talk a little bit about Lo-Fi and Gravy. In the meantime, come up with your final questions, anything else you want to know about this album. I'll be taking those questions just before we end the stream. But for now, let me talk a little bit about that song right there. I'm glad you guys enjoyed it. Lo-Fi has obviously become my favorite genre of music, especially with the chill hop brand. You know, I mean, it's just my favorite thing to listen to. It keeps me busy. I listen to it all the time when I'm working, when I'm outside, whatever. And I wanted to pay homage to that with a special tribute. And so I merged these things together. My love for that kind of music, and of course my love for my family as well. That song should give you a little window into what it was like to have dinner with my family. And it's it's a little crazy, obviously. You know, Jeopardy's on TV. Everybody's screaming. Can't hear myself think. Maybe that's the way it should be, right? And no one's to say that it can't still be that way, even if it has to look a little bit different. And so, you know, if there was any time for a transition where you really know that it's a new chapter in your life and you are to become an adult, you know, that time is now for me. And I wanted to make sure that we never, ever, ever forgot even these little things. You know, obviously we remember having dinner at the house, but maybe you don't remember the sounds, you know, the pots and the pans clacking and the chicken cutlets sizzling. in the pans, and all the little things that we used to say. And my uncle, in the middle of dinner, while we're eating all this glorious homemade food, asking what time the pizza is coming. It's just such a funny, oxymoronic thing to ask, and I think that it really highlights just how special it is that we have people in our family who have these talents, who can cook, got their traditions from their parents and are passing it down to their grandchildren. It's something really, really special and unique. And I just want to thank everybody for sticking along for this ride and peering into this window into my life. And I know that it's going to be very different moving forward. But like I said, everything that you do is a time capsule. And this album will be a very special time capsule for me. And of course, when all is said and done, we will dedicate it to my father. So thank you all for joining today. And I'd like to go through these final comments and quotes from you guys before we wrap up the stream. So let's see. Yes, all the background talking reminds me of personal family experiences. I hope it makes you smile. I know it's very personal. I didn't know how it would come across because it's so very personal, but I think that anyone can really relate to it. Thank you, Snowden, for all the kind words. And smooth and musical were the themes that I wanted to prioritize here, because I have a history of not being very musical and, in fact, being very aggressive with my voice. So I wanted to try to do something different, make something that you can listen to and actually resembles music a bit. Blazing Pelt loved it. Anthony said it was adorable. Thank you. Ludwig van Beethoven, your mother does not make the best gravy. That is 100% certain. Aussie Can thinks it's a good vibe. Mat4yo says so many amazing memories. Yeah, put some Hershey's and the kids will eat it. So it's so funny. Mysterious Nara asks what I sampled for the beat. So what I sampled, it's all my family. It's all real. It doesn't come from any other material that you could find online. It's all authentic Italian-American style Sunday dinner. And the reason I have all that is because I did a school project in college where we had to do like a sort of man on the street interview, and I decided I didn't want to go on the street. I wanted to go into the dining room. And so I put the microphone in the middle of the table, and I interviewed my whole family. And I said, who makes the best gravy? Why do they make the best gravy? What constitutes the best gravy? And, what's special about our heritage? And so all those funny quotes came from that, and I was able to not only make a song about it, but also a video. And a lot of those quotes that we have, especially the chorus, were coupled with the video. So I actually have the exact video from which the audio was pulled from, and you'll see that music video next week when we upload, either next week or the week after when we upload the entire album in video form. So let's see. I'll talk about the album cover once more before we go, because I talked about it in the beginning. The Lady in Red. The Lady in Red is delicious, but I'm not talking about Grandma. Stuart, thank you so much for joining. You're a little bit late, but started working on the album back in February, and I guess I'll answer the question about the album cover quickly again. So I had just taken a picture of my favorite little Game Boy, and I put it on Instagram with a couple others, and Instagram spit out this glitchy image because it couldn't process that I had uploaded more than one image at the same time. So it tried to combine them, and it got all weird and fuzzy, and all I did was add text. That is a picture that perfectly represents the concept of the album, which is something natural that, of the earth, that maybe a photograph that I took blended with something digital or a corruption of that nature, and it's something that's spit out totally randomly, arbitrarily, just by natural code. So let's see, what kind of rap artists? So nerdcore is probably the best way to say it. There are a lot of songs on the album that are not nerdcore-ish, but I don't know. I think it fits in its own category, like lyricality, spoken word put to music. It's a disservice to really call it rap, I think. Let's see. Natsu loves Y4yo channel. Well, I love Y4yo channel too. Thank you. Thank you, Little Nicky, for enjoying the album, and of course for being the main voice that we hear in the laugh track that is in Lo-Fi and Gravy. I think you were the loudest. Thank you for Fan Guy for thinking this is the best album. I hope you do listen to it every day. because we need those numbers to go up. It's criminal how many views we get on Chisel This and how many views we can't get on stuff like this. But we are working hard every day, and I prioritize making something that I want to make, and I just hope that the audience comes naturally with that. I think that's, for me, with the way I want to go. YouTube is not my full-time job. In fact, it's not a job at all. It's just a hobby, and so that's how I look at it. I'm going to follow my passions. It's something I started last year with Passion Roots. All right. Thank you again, Mat4yo, for the kind words. Any final thoughts before we wrap up this live stream? Am I planning more streams? I don't know, because I wasn't even planning this stream today. I decided I was going to do this 5 minutes before it started. So again, the spontaneity of everything was just so great. And I think another live stream is definitely due. I think I was really surprised to see that when I started this stream and I was trying to get it set up and there were 20 people just watching me not talking like an idiot. I think that was really cool. So yeah, I think we'll have to have another stream. So all right, guys, I think that'll do it. We've been doing this for over an hour and a half, and I thank you all for being here. We pretty much hovered around 20 viewers this entire time, which is 20 more than I thought we'd have, trust me. So I am so, so happy that you guys are excited about this and love it just as much as I loved making it. So thank you all so much. More music is on the way, I can guarantee that. More challenge raps. Maybe even more video game raps. Who knows? Fire Rap version 2, anybody? All right. Well, thank you all for joining, and remember that you can keep listening to Evergreen Data Stream on Spotify, iTunes, Apple Music, Google Play, Amazon, and we will be uploading a full album experience either next week or the week after, where it'll be one video where you can listen to the whole song start to finish, and there will be a nice little interface with a music video playing in the little Game Boy that's on the album art. So it's super quaint, it's super fun, and I hope that you all find peace, joy, love, and happiness, and of course, safety during this very difficult time. I think this was the best thing for me, that I was able to kind of escape in a year that we were so constrained and had so many things taken from us, that to still be able to create was very special, and I think that we always need to keep creating. So all right, guys, the show must go on, but for now, I'm Mat4yo, and that is all for you today.